We stood tall, let them blab away. The northern lights showed us the way. No crown was handed, no easy quest. Sir Alex gave us spirit and 2 stars on our chest.
Sadly, after last night, it's another defeat. It's another kick in the teeth. And it meant that we finish in the bottom 6 of the SPFL table, the Scottish Premiership. Those were the headlines, and we shall discuss that. A game of inches. That's what it means to the table. So we are now, well, we remain in 8th position. The scary thing is that Dundee have caught up with us. Dundee United have pulled away from us. And no matter what happens, in the bottom 6. Aye. Welcome to the review show here on Ali Beg AB TV this Thursday night. So, we've had time to reflect. We've had roughly nearly 24 hours to reflect on last night's defeat. So, unfortunately, Andrew Budge couldn't be with us this evening. And I tried to get a guest on tonight, but unfortunately, he was also unavailable. But what I have been able to do is get 2 very special guests to come on tomorrow evening's show for the previous show. We're going to be speaking to a Dons legend, and we're going to be speaking to a German Bundesliga expert who's going to give us a breakdown on our, how can we put it, candidate for the new manager's role, Sandro Schwarz. So tonight is mainly about you guys, you coming on, having your comments. I'll read out as many as I can. Just don't forget, guys, to try not to use bad language. I know, last night, thankfully, you respected those wishes. Just be careful what you say, because if there's anything which I think is untoward, I'm not going to read it out, simply to protect the channel, to protect me, and to protect you guys as well. So just be slightly careful what you say, because I did have to delete a couple of comments that were made last night. So, what do you now think of the performance? I actually thought in spells we did okay. I actually thought we did all right. And I felt that it was starting to come together. But at set pieces, where we are the second worst team in the league behind Livingston for conceding from set pieces, we continue to shoot ourselves in the foot. And I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not pinpointing, and it's certainly not a pylon, but Kevin Nisbet is the main culprit. Time and time again, he's been guilty of leaving his marker unmarked. So this is what I'm suggesting, Kevin. If you're watching, and I mean this with respect, do us a favour, go and stand on the halfway line for corner kicks against us. Don't go anywhere near the box, fella. Dimitar Mitov needs to organise that defence, and we need to man mark. Not zonal mark, man mark. It's ridiculous that we continue to lose goals in the way that we lose them. It's ridiculous. The second goal. Now, I've read some very interesting comments where, because Scottish VAR, in a humble personal opinion, is not up to scratch, last night I felt they were guessing. And we saw 2 different camera angles. One, where he looks offside, Nygren, and 2, where he doesn't. And they decided to use the second frame to determine the lines drawn. Now, first and foremost, a lot of people pointed out online, why were there not 2 lines drawn, as there has been recently? Why was there only 1? And secondly, why were 3 dots drawn on that line to show where Mitchell Frame's foot was? I don't get that. And if anybody can explain that to me, I'm all ears. So, because I felt that the decision was inconclusive, that the original decision should have stood, which unfortunately was a goal. But what we need in the Scottish game is a much enhanced version of VAR. We need better camera angles as well, which means further investment. And also, I don't understand why somebody is not sitting in that VAR room and going, well, we can't take that camera angle because that's not conclusive. we need to take the first camera angle, because the first camera angle for me was far more conclusive than the second. So we can argue the toss about it. At the end of the day, it's now 19 games without defeat for Celtic at Celtic Park. It's been over 10 years since we've beaten them at Celtic Park. And it's 34 games over 90 minutes that we've not beaten them. It's unbelievable. And it's one win in 13 for us. Oh, it doesn't get any easier being an Aberdeen fan, does it? So let's just gently remind ourselves. So Peter leaving last night made 4 changes. Again, there's a lot of chopping and changing every week, isn't there? Alexander Jensen came in for the injured Nicky Devlin. If you are to believe reports today, there is a real concern that Nicky's Devlin could put him out for the rest of the season. Sivert Helton-Nielsen came in for Liam Morrison, who dropped down to the bench. Mitchell Frame came in for the skipper, who also dropped down to the bench. And Stuart Armstrong came in for Topi Keskinen, who also found himself on the bench. So 4 changes in total. What I've done for you is put together some player stats from last night. So, in 62 minutes played, Sivert Helton-Nielsen had a 70% accurate pass rate, and he made 11 defensive contributions. I thought he played well last night. Jack Milne had the most defensive contributions, which was 12, and the most blocks of any Aberdeen player, 3. Jack also had the most touches of the ball from any Aberdeen player, which was 71. After his penalty last night, Kevin Nisbet is now Aberdeen's leading goal scorer with 8 goals. And Mitchell Frame had a 80% accurate pass rate, 12 from 15. He created 3 meaningful chances in the game and had a 50% accurate cross rate, 3 from 6. Just before we introduce you guys, a gentle reminder that Ali Beg AB TV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. Not just that, they also offer torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding services. So if you are in the oil and gas industry and any of those services suit your needs, feel free to get in touch with Saltire Direct or come to me and I'll do it for you. Right, let's get you guys on now. So, first and foremost, right. So, let's pause that. Let's minimize that. Let's bring that over here. And off we go. Right, let's see how we're doing. So, there's a lot of you on tonight. That's good. Thank you for watching. Cameron Young says, good evening, Ali. Another defeat. Gutted we couldn't get the draw. Hopefully we can get the result on Saturday night against Dunfermline and into the semis at Hampden. What a huge game that now is for us. Oh my God. Christopher Mainland said, performance was better. Give some hope going into the cup. Scott Bowie says, tin hat on, but last 2 games we have not been outplayed from either Hearts or Celtic. Performances better, but still not making enough clear-cut chances. Barry's here, how are we doing? Better performance, but still carrying a few players at times. Craig Moyer says, thought once Ulusanya went off, we lacked the pace up top. Bilalovic came on and offered absolutely nothing. Nielsen and Armstrong played well. What's happened to Aruma and Milanovic is really baffling. So, Kenan Bilalovic came on last night, and we pointed out during the show that he only had 6 touches of the ball when he came on. 6. No idea what's happened to Aruma. Nicholas Milanovic, unfortunately, as disappointing as it is just simply not cutting it. Barry said Bilalovic looked uninterested. He also said that Nisbet is a leaving fave. Scott Bowie came back to say, feel the midfield is beginning to gel. Our backline still a bit and miss, and onto Mitov. My Subutio keeper has better distribution than Mitov. Oh, I love how you can retain your sense of humour. It's what keeps us going. Richard Mickey McMillan is here. Leyland is on saying the amount of set-piece goals we concede and the man it's free with nobody marking at all is embarrassing defending, as we said at the top of the show, fella. Craig Moyer says, no VAR on Saturday, yeehaw. Andrew is here. Nisbet has been the bright spark for us in these recent gloomy times. Also, I feel Jensen did quite well in spells of the game. Scott Bowie came back to say Nisbet is the only one who looks like scoring. Balalovic strutted around like it was a pre-season friendly. Also, Armstrong, I felt, had his best game in an Aberdeen shirt. I have to say, I thought Stewart was also very good last night. Very good. John Grant says, barring the cup win, we have been terrible for the last season and a half, so no surprise that we finished bottom 6. Our new players are at least gaining match fitness, and we're going to need them. Christopher Mainland said, need to get rid of humans drawing lines. Computers should be able to do it. I wonder if AI can now start doing it. James Strachan says, the playing out from the back has to stop. We've never had the players good enough to do it. Every single goal kick, our 2 centre-halves next to Mitov in 6-yard box, just inviting pressure. Doug Finney says, on VAR, it's not so much the equipment, but the competency of those using it. Amateur level refs operating at a professional level will never work. The thing is though, fella, is that it's not amateur level refs. It's full-time professional referees who officiate Scottish Premiership games who go on VAR. So, I don't get it. I'm not understanding what the issue is. Stephen Dale says, Jensen was like a new player. I saw him pass the ball forward at least 4 times. That's terrible. Kirstein's here. How are we doing, Kirstein? She says, we got a goal chopped off for an inconclusive decision, so our goal should have stood, but it didn't. We need consistency. VAR and the folk using it need trained better. Right, we shall come back to your comments in just a moment. First and foremost, let's hear what the interim manager had to say after last night's defeat. It's fair to say he was disappointed.
Frustrated again. We've come away with 0 points. Obviously frustrated with the early goal we conceded for a set play, but I thought the boys responded well. Can't fault their effort. Nizzy gets us back in the game 1-1, and I thought we started the second half really well. Kept Celtic in the half. He had a great header, good save. Mitchell was getting to the byline, getting crosses in. But frustrated. We're getting 0 points at the end of it. But I think we need to be more streetwise. I think Lyle's got to ask the question right at the end there when Hatate comes into manage the box. We'll try to get out of the way the contact. I think he's got to ask the question to the referee, let him make a decision. A couple of things in the middle of the pitch where we get little pushes, we don't go down. So I think we need to be a wee bit more streetwise.
Yeah, you mentioned the frustrating start there, but pleased with how you responded. There's a chance as well at 1 each where you could go in front. Is that just the kind of fine moments and at this level?
Yeah, definitely. I just think things are not going for us right now. That second goal, it looks offside to me, and we've just seen it there. I don't know why they've only drawn 1 line. We were told that it has to be 2 lines drawn at all times, so they've only drawn 1 line, so I don't know why.
Yeah, that's, I think, unfortunately, top 6 aspirations done now. What's the sort of mood like in the camp now?
No, listen, we've got to go again. We've got the biggest game of the season now at the weekend. We want to go and retain the title. We said that to them there. We'll rest and recover. We need to go again. We need to start fast. I need a 90-minute performance at the weekend. So that's our full focus on them.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
So that's what the interim manager had to say after last night's game. Let me bring you the match stats if you haven't already seen them. So only 38% possession for us. 8 shots to their 19, of only which 2 were on target. And we only forced their goalkeeper to make 1 save in the game, which came from Kevin Nisbet's brilliant header. To be fair, it was some save. We had 23 touches inside their 18-yard box to their 41 inside our 18-yard box. Right, Sugarland said, Jack Milne had the most defensive contributions and the most blocks, but Jack also had the usual most turn-offs, mess-ups and general incompetence in his position. DIY Dougie says, the paralysis of analysis, Ali. Another season in the bottom 6, embarrassing. Even Livy have picked up more points than us in the last 6 games. We are bottom of the form guide. Bottom. James Alan Strachan says, also, what was the referee pointing to his watch for time wasting in added time to only add on 20 seconds. Should have been at least 2 minutes more. Graham Gibbs says, we have the VAR we were willing to pay for, control of the controllables, defend set plays better, second worst record defending set plays in the league. Sugarland thinks we're a stick-on for 11th position. Lucas Milne says, we really wanted Milanovic to work out. Imagine he will be away in the summer for a minimal fee. I tend to agree, sadly. AJ Tech, I think it is, was leaving right to command Cameron to hit the deck when there was no contact. He showed his lack of class and unsuitability, declaring that publicly, typical Rangers man. I don't really know what to make of that comment. Sugarland said, Hearts and Celtic managed our toothlessness across narrow wins. The bottom six will attack us and win. 8 points to sure safety is a dream at this point. John Grant says, currently Killie need to win 3 games more than us and St Mirren need to win 2 more games than us. With 9 games left, do you think we are currently strong enough to see it over the line? Let's put it this way. We've got the Cup on Saturday, then Falkirk, then St Mirren away. That game against St Mirren, depending how we get on against Falkirk, could be absolutely huge. Oh my God, it doesn't even worth bear thinking about. CFC says, from a Celtic fan, I thought Aberdeen played well last night. Thanks for coming on, mate. Angela Brown says, Gary and I are at the music hall with the Aberdeen legends. Willie Miller, Big Ben, Brian Gunn, Simi, and super sub John Hewitt. Oh yeah, the boys are all there tonight, aren't they? That's that show with Charlie Nicholas. Of course. Well, I hope they all have a fantastic evening. David Gold's here wishing you all a good evening, as is Wendab. Ross Thompson says, we need a new manager now. It's easy to be seen. We need a new manager now. Don't think Peter is the man for the job. Scott Bowie says, with the upheaval which is going to happen again in the summer, we're going to lose some money in recouping transfer fees. Thought Peter Leavin was channeling Barry frustrated Robson last night. Oh, Paul Donaldson said Celtic were poor last night and any half-decent team would be able to beat them at home at the moment. It's a wasted opportunity. I can't see them being as poor next season. A Russian dude's come on, written in Russian. Fella, I've got no idea what you've just said, because call me old-fashioned, but I don't speak or understand Russian. Hellboy says, where were the centre-backs at the first goal last night? Then the second goal, Milne and Morrison need to be tighter on Nygren in the box. Defence is woeful at set pieces and corners. Peter Leavin says, David Gall says, I think Peter Leavin is doing the best he can to get a tune out of the squad. He'd have more luck with a smashed up piano. Hey, Bruce, what's that word, mate? Andrew Budge is posting what? More than our defence at corners? Need to have a word. Barry says, the ref definitely didn't add any extra time for Celtic time wasting last night. Hellboy says, when we get a throw in, nobody looks interested. No movement. It's like they don't want the ball. Again, do you know, it's not a bad point, because I'm watching the throw-ins last night. Everybody's static. It's like, just show a desire to get the ball. Yeah. Right. We're going to take just a moment to let you know that my sponsor, Finn Morey, has found their third singer for their brand new album, Aeon the Calling. So, delighted to announce that they can confirm that Shetland singer and musician Lisa Manson will be the third featured vocalist on the album Aeon the Calling. Lisa currently works in Aberdeen, but is originally from Shetland, and she's going to perform the Shetland-based track Muddy Bay. The Finn Morey team is actually travelling to Shetland on Sunday. They're going to be joined by our pal Richard Gordon on Tuesday to sit down and interview Lisa about coming on board. In the meantime, here is David Sherritt, aka Finn Morrie, to explain the inspiration behind the song that inspires Shetland.
The main thing for me is it was somewhere my dad and I were going to go, and we never got around to it. And we were always going to go there and get the ferry from Aberdeen and go up through the night and go to Shetland, and we never got there. So it's a bit of sadness that I've got about that I'm not going to do that with my dad. I still plan to go there, obviously, but it was somewhere that died when my dad died, that part of it. But also, I've got a few friends from Shetland, and they're really resilient people. And also, I love the fact that when I wrote Muddy Bay, I really took time to understand Scandinavian music when I was putting it together, because Shetland's as Scandinavian as it is Scottish in many ways. You know, you need to even look at Uphellia and these things. There's a very strong Scandinavian root within the Shetland people, at least from my perception and from speaking to people from there. And I wanted that to be in Muddy Bay, that it was kind of quite a gritty song, that it was the fact of these are people who face the extreme weathers, who are remote in many ways, but they're very resilient and they stand up and they're very proud of their own individual identity, and that's really what I wanted to try and get through in Muddy Bay. Why Blood and Bone was it was really just Muddy Bay is a kind of derivative of the word Lerwick when you look at the history of the word, but it was really trying to take that earthiness and humanness and blend it all together to say that we are every part of this island. Blood, bone, mud, everything. We are part of this island.
David, thank you. So, what I suggest you do for more information and to follow Finn Morrie, go to the website, finnmorrie.com, where you will see the interview that's going to be placed on there and all about the Shetland filming and Lisa's performance reveal as well. So many congratulations to Sheila, who is the third vocalist. While we're at it, just let me very quickly remind you also that Quipco International sponsor the channel here. And a service that's been keeping their team busy recently is the service and repair of fishing jars and stroking tools. Each tool undergoes a full strip down, third-party inspection, seal kit replacement, followed by a complete rebuild and testing in line with the manufacturer's specifications. So if you'd like to learn more about how Quipco International can support your equipment in the oil and gas industry, feel free to get in touch. Details are below. Thank you to everybody who continues to sponsor me here on the channel. Right, back to your comments. So, where are we? Robin the Bold says, we keep saying Celtic are poor, but they're now second place. Wish we were there. Robert Fowler says, truth. Celtic players only striving to get to every cross first, whereas our defenders are too lazy to match them. Scott Bowie says, I think we will pick up enough points not to be worried about 11th, but to get this, we now need to have a settled team, not 4 changes every match. I agree with that. I think this chopping and changing, on average 4 players every game, does not help. I know sometimes Peter and the coaching staff, their hand is forced, but we need a settled 11 going into the remaining games, because we've got some huge games coming up. Falkirk, the Cup, Falkirk, St Mirren, Rangers, Hibs, potential Scottish Cup semi-final, then 5 games in the split. Huge games coming up. Wendab says, we did okay last night. Even the Celtic manager said it was a tough game. Saw improvements, but there's no end product. Graham Gibb is asking, the throw-ins, it's been like that all season. It has. Sugarland says, the defeats at Kilmarnock and at home to Dundee change everything. By game 33, we play St Mirren away, and I would expect the bottom 4 to be more in touch than we would like. Christopher Mainland is enjoying all your comments tonight, as am I. David Christie, we're going to finish 9th behind the Dundee clubs. We will either barely beat Dunfermline or they will knock us out 2-1, and that will be our season in a nutshell. Just a whimper of a once great club. DIY Doggy simply says, Dunfermline will be up front on Saturday. Will we? Graham Gibb, I did see this. Oh, did anybody see the tweet using Dave Cormack's pep talk and Fatboy Slim's right here, right now? Go and look at it. It's comedy gold when I don't feel like there's much laughing. I have to say. It's really funny. Scott Bowie says, Livingston are as good as away. Can't see them getting out of the bottom two. And Killie had a new manager bounce, but that's now passed. And St Mirren are in a worse state of affairs than us. James Brown is asking, when will our next win come? It better be on Saturday. Oh, mate, I hope you're right. Right, guys, I am going to call it a night because my kids are at home waiting for me. But what I would just like to quickly ask, don't forget to like the show. It helps massively with the algorithm. Thank you for subscribing. We're now at 5,200, which is absolutely brilliant. Let's see if we can now start kicking on to 5,300 subscribers. Don't forget, it doesn't cost you a single penny to subscribe. All you're doing is, in effect, following like what you would do on social media. So just press that wee red button for me. I'd be very, very happy. So tomorrow, we'll be back for the preview show ahead of our Scottish Cup game against Dunfermline. I'll be joined by a Gothenburg legend, and we'll also be speaking to a German Bundesliga expert to chat about our managerial candidate, Sandro Schwarz. Join us tomorrow, 19:03, ABTV on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. Stand free. Enjoy the rest of your night.